Hey, so I've been thinking a lot about my work life, how I contribute to a team and how there's like a cyclical way it contributes to me beyond money. After talking to some people about it, I've learnt that my workplace is not normal, and this video is a rant for me to self-reflect, but also maybe it prompts something to reflect about your own work. Who knows? So, I work in a restaurant, high stress, rude customers, all that. I sometimes deliver, I sometimes wash dishes, I sometimes cook and prep food. And I take pride in work ethic and working hard, and I appreciate those kind of values, in myself at least. I remember taking a unit in university for the philosophy of work. Basically, it explores the good life that philosophy studies often refers to, but in relation to how work contributes to that. To be brief, it involves how work contributes to the good life beyond the idea of money, so stuff like human nature itself. There are some that they go through, like excellence, social recognition, community, and societal contribution. I'll leave like a link or something if you want to know more about that, but I feel like they resonated with me when I was studying this unit, because I really like, for example, I really like having the community of chefs that like they just understand certain things about working restaurants that like people who haven't worked these jobs know about. Like there's just an immediate understanding of like, oh yeah, you share this experience because you've worked in a restaurant before. And stuff like excellence. It's like I like being good at the thing that I am working on. You know what I mean? I've worked many jobs, and I definitely think these apply to how I view myself and just the world in general. Yeah, and I want to push myself towards some of those goals, like excellence, like I said. My work is also sort of attached to my self-worth in a way that it's just like I do well, therefore I am good, if that makes sense. And if I do poorly, I can work towards improving, and that's how I mean when in terms of self-worth. In terms of the current place I'm working, I joined about 2 years ago, and my progress was really slow. I didn't really know what I wanted, and didn't know if I wanted to stay there. Eventually I like slowly formed into the team that existed and was able to figure out where I specialize and how I want to exist in that space and my priorities, etc. I'm pretty quiet, so it was hard for me to like generally connect with some of these people, but I eventually did. But I'm still considered kind of like the unemotional, boring coworker because I don't really talk unless it's work related, just because I don't know, I don't see any of these people else. I don't have an interest in those kind of connections with specifically the people in my workplace. After working some time, I definitely found the goods of work that I mentioned, like contribution to self and like how it contributed to my life. Maybe even to a fault, I might add to that, just because I may have ignored some problems along the way, which I'm just gonna go through now, just to kind of see how I feel about it while saying it, I guess. So the restaurant I currently work at has like a split management system where like there are the regular level workers, then the senior chefs and all that, and then like a manager of certain responsibilities. So that'll be like a roster manager, payment, etc. But they also work in the restaurant at the same time. I would sometimes receive different training in different areas because they encouraged us to know things outside of the role that you are paid for, which pay didn't reflect your extra training or your extra knowledge or your extra work beyond overtime, obviously, which might have been the first red flag that I didn't notice. And then sometimes when the higher management or even just the middle management people were having a bad day, it could switch into this like abuse, straining, and rudeness, where it was just like, oh yeah, today I had a bad day, so therefore I'm going to take it out on everyone that I work with. And I think I let it slide because I was seeing more of how work was contributing rather than confronting the fact that these situations were bad. It was only when I was describing it to my friends how like I was like, why am I downplaying how shit they are? Like, why am I just kind of brushing off the fact that they treat people like shit at where I work? Because that's not healthy. Moving on. But I'm not sure the reasons, but I learnt that my coworkers were targeting me on and off my work hours. I do have like work friends, and we're pretty close because we have like heart connections with some of my friends there. We're just quiet people who like to exist in each other's quiet space, that kind of stuff. And they tell me things, and I believe them because why would they lie about certain stuff? I had some suspicions of my own, and I wanted to confirm it, so I had some free time and learnt a version of the language that they speak between themselves to see if they were saying bad things. And I know that does sound insecure, but let me just hear me out. So I learnt like a rough version of the language. I won't specify what it is just to keep like my life a little bit anonymous and all that. But I learnt a rough version of their language and how they would speak between themselves, and I don't regret doing that. I just regret knowing what some of the words mean that are used frequently in the workplace, if that makes sense. I won't say what those words are, but I don't think they'd be able to get away with it in English. Let's just say that. So yeah, I've been reflecting on that, and I'm wondering how learning about, like, not just learning about it, but confronting the issues, I'm wondering how that like leads in terms of my overall consensus on work, specifically my current workplace. Another aspect of my workplace is the mentorship relationship I had with a specific member of the management team. He took the role of a sort of like pseudo teacher in terms of how he would share insights about the industry, and those insights were usually not directly part of my training. They were usually just like little tidbits of like, here's something you should know, but they won't tell you kind of information, and I always appreciated that. I appreciated it because it was the kind of work relationship I was looking for, where I had someone who was actively like supporting my growth within the place I worked at, and like there's a bunch of like research on it, but like that helps me work harder. Unfortunately, something changed and he just stopped doing that. I wanted to make a note that he was one of the people saying the abhorrent things in their native tongue that I won't repeat, but just letting you know that. There are also some personal issues I have with the place that, like, I am comfortable with you deciding against this, but this is just a personal thing. Drug and alcohol use is always something I've had issue with. I've just been very I've been very uncomfortable with it because it exists a lot where I live, and it's just to excess, and usually leads to like drug and alcohol crimes and all that kind of stuff. And this is definitely true in my workplace. I won't be specific, but to describe some scenarios, after work, where I work overtime to clean the kitchen, I would notice some of the owners and managers go to the back of the kitchen, acting a little suspicious and kind of like calm and placid. I think that's the right word, or just like complacent, very calm demeanor, and then I wouldn't hear it because it's like a closed space, but then when they came out, they would be like frazzled and extremely high energy, and like their eyes would be wide. You can put together what you will from what I described. But I really didn't stay after work. I got invited to drinks after work, but I tend to avoid drinking unless I'm comfortable with people that I'm drinking with. That's just a personal rule. I think for me, exploring this, I've unfortunately accepted that I don't want to work where I currently do, even though the prospects are good. I need to confirm like how I want to exist currently, because I am finishing my uni degree this year on a full-time schedule, so I don't have the space to job hunt and that whole like arduous process of like, here's my resume, rejected, here's my resume, here's an interview, we didn't choose you. That like, I don't have the time for that yet. I can do all of that shit when I'm done uni, I think. So for now, I think I'm just gonna comfortably work to pay my bills so that I can, and then like I can put my energy into like creativity, stuff like these videos, and my uni workload, obviously. I was thinking of a potential 2-week notice, where I talk about the main reasons why I'm leaving, or maybe I'll just give them a boring letter being like, hey, thank you for all the lessons I've learned, and I wish you the best. Like, I don't know yet. I'll decide closer to when I am looking for work. I'll definitely get another job before I quit this one. I just think that's the smarter option. But yeah, thank you for listening. I like this format where I record myself playing a game and then just talking over it. So like, it's kind of just background footage, but I might make this a thing where I just rant about a certain thing I'm not hyper focusing on, but just something extremely relevant to what I'm experiencing life-wise. I might do that. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah.